absurd defiance ends here, hatchling.
We will win this together.
When I'm ready.
Disintegration, hatchling.
Others
Surprises.
arrived to challenge me for this realm.
This is not a battle you can win. Hatchling, you can die.
Others arrived to challenge me for this realm.
Rain of stars!
Words of death in my heart races. I am alive. Your reckoning is at hand.
Memory.
To save the future, the past must be sacrificed.
Die!
Hello my friend, welcome to a showcase of my Skeleton Mages build in Mercenary League. I'll show you the POE really quickly, I'll show you the configuration, I'll show you my gear, the Mercenary gear, the Animate Guardian gear, then I'll do a quick Tier 17 Fortress and maybe an Abomination with 5 scarabs, and then I'll go into a longer in-depth discussion about my gear and my skills and why I've chosen what I have chosen. One quick comment about the DPS, it could be slightly higher for single target if I decide to go with Predator instead of increased critical damage, but the reason I haven't done that is because I just can't be bothered. Most Uber bosses will die so quickly that I don't have time to cast both my Sniper's Mark and my Signal Prey. But I could have 1 billion DPS, I guess, in single target mode. And for mapping mode, the DPS would be less, obviously. So I hope no one was tricked by the title. If I go into mapping mode, I'm obviously using Awaken GMP. I'm not going to be using Sniper's Mark on anything, so I have to uncheck that, and I will uncheck my Brittle, and I'll check Unnerved, just to be sure. Even though my Mercenary is kind of carpeting most of the screen with Absolution, and he has 100% chance to unnerve on hit. But I'll uncheck it. I'll leave the shock, but maybe that's wrong. Remember that my crits are really high, so I usually have pretty high shocks. Not always, but usually. My crit multi is 6.4, so 640% critical multiplier. And yeah. Just look at the POE. I will link the POE in the description. Let's just talk about the configuration really quickly. Animate Guardian, he has Kingmaker, he has Helmet with Malediction, Corruption implicit. I will show you the gear. Fortification is active. Garb of the Ephemeral, I can't be crit, and my action speed can't be reduced to below base value. It's very nice. Even though I don't really have anything super tanky on my Animate Guardian, it doesn't really seem to die. I have very high level on the Animate Guardian. Let's see if I can find... His HP is... I don't think it's 141k, I think he's assuming that the gear... He assumes that he's wearing my gear, which it's not. And it's showing a little bit of base HP, but... Even without my gear, it still has pretty high HP, right? And 40% of this HP becomes Energy Shield. But regardless, Mercenary, Wrath, 03. No reservation, of course. I have the Kaom's Belt. Nearby allies, damage is lucky. I have an 18% Culling Strike. Let me know if you disagree with this. I have 10% culling strike from Kingmaker, and I have 8% off the top with blood price. Now I did some googling and people were saying that 18% culling isn't quite correct. You should be 17.7 or some shit. I think this is fine. 18%. I'll show you the gear and you'll see why I'm doing this. And for the amulet and belt and the anoint, minus 10% of my own aura effect. The total came to Sealer 40% and Wrath 43%. The reason there is a minus 10%, I am correcting for my own aura effect from this. I'm getting 10% increased effect of auras, but this is not supposed to be applying to Sealer 3 and Wrath. But in POB it is, because POB is assuming that I am the one casting these level 26 auras. But I'm not, so I have to correct for it. So I am subtracting 10%. Nearby enemies lightning resistance is minus 200%. Let's see. Guaranteed unnerve. Scepters. I'm dual wielding scepters with 40% Sealer 3 effect, so 80% total. Helmet implicit. It does nothing in POB. For Spectres, I'm using a Forest Warrior for Onslaught Aura, Perfect Pain Artist for 30% critical strike multiplier, and a Perfect Guardian Turtle for 5% additional physical damage reduction. The fourth Spectre I haven't decided completely on yet. I'm testing different stuff. The Perfect Blasphemer seems to be giving me a massive Smite Aura, and if I activate this right now, let's go back to mapping. Bossing DPS. Really quick. Turn on Brittle, turn on Unnerved, 923 million. If I turn this on, this is the Smite Aura that the Perfect Blasphemer is giving. It puts my DPS to 1.6 billion. I think that's wrong. There's no way that's correct. But it does give me some DPS. I've tested it. I tried to remove skills and other specters just to test this, and it seemed like on Uber bosses it does give me more DPS. I just don't know if it puts me to 1.6 billion. Again, it's hard to say because Uber bosses die almost instantly anyway. So it does give me more DPS, but not. I don't think it's 1.6 billion. I think that's too insane. For my Animate Guardian, I am just using a generic Kingmaker axe. I am using a Garb of the Ephemeral to make me immune kind of to crits as long as enemies are nearby, and immune to having my action speed slow to below base value. It's also kind of nice for your skeletons because they can technically be slowed and chilled, right? I'm using a Leer cast. If you can get one with Malediction, it's pretty nice. It's pretty expensive and very few people have it left now. It's kind of late into the league, unfortunately, but it is a nice little min-max if you can get Malediction. Otherwise, until I got it, I was just using a generic 50% increased damage for nearby allies. I had an Asenath and a Windscream in my dump tab, so I just put them on. So I can have an extra curse, and I can have temporal chains on hit for my Animate Guardian, and a bit of explode. It doesn't really do anything, but I just wanted to try it out, and it's kind of nice sometimes. If I'm not summoning my skeletons, you can kind of feel the Animate Guardian glove explosion. It's insignificant, but it's kind of nice sometimes. You can just see if I can get it to work. I can kind of see the dusting is the explosion, obviously. Yeah. But of course, it doesn't really matter, because I'm actually spawning my skeletons and killing everything anyway, right? But if anyone has any better suggestions for boots and gloves, I am very open to it. And my Mercenary is relatively tanky. I would say he is maybe about as tanky as my Animate Guardian. My Animate Guardian kinda never dies, and my Mercenary pretty much never dies. However, if I'm doing tier 17s with 4, 5, or just 3 risk scarabs, he does sometimes die. It kind of depends on the mods, and it sometimes feels very RNG if he's gonna die or not. But more regeneration and more recoup, I don't think it's gonna matter, because either he just gets instantly one-shot or he takes no damage at all. So from his stats we can already see he has 1600 regen per second. He's res capped except chaos. He has okay life and armor. I don't know if that's okay, to be honest. That's good enough, I think. And he is minus capped on lightning resistance. I am using the Wrath and Zealotry one. Desecrate, of course, is very nice because he is desecrating a lot and it relieves socket pressure. I don't have to use Desecrate in my wand. And my Spirit Offering is always up. Even on Uber bosses, it's always up. Because my Mercenary is the one desecrating. I don't have to anymore. I'm using 2 Scepters for 40% Zealotry effect. That's really the only thing that matters, the 40% or effect on Zealotry on both. Blind on hit doesn't really matter because I'm using blind on hit on helmet. I don't know if Blood Priest is the best one. This is the one that I am saying is giving me another 8% culling on top. This is 8% culling on top, and Kingmaker is 10% culling on bottom from my Animate Guardian. I think that's kind of correct. I have looked into POBing the Shaper Elevated Helm. Actually, I'll talk about that in the end of the video. I'm not going to waste time. I'm just going to show the gear real quickly. Okay, you have the Blood Price. It does reduce HP, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. A generic lightning hit is lucky. The implicits were expensive, but they don't matter too much. They increase the DPS by a little bit, but not by a whole lot. Generic Dorianis. Generic minus lightning resistance ring with damage recoup. Kalandra to double it. Belt is, of course, Calm's Binding. I think the 25% physical conversion is just insanely overpowered. And of course, the double corruption was very expensive, but doesn't increase my DPS by that much, but a little bit. Just generic resistance armor, life regeneration boots. I put brittle on him just because why not? Now I have brittle and my mercenary has brittle. Even though it says he only drops spear brittle when a unique enemy is in the presence, he will always drop brittle anyway. You can do it with when a pinnacle boss is in presence, he will still always drop brittle. I just couldn't roll it in a lot of embers, so I just went with this one when I saw it. For gloves, I'm just using 100% chance to unnerve enemies on hit and some armor and life. Could go with the Eldritch implicit, but it's not guaranteed percent chance to hit. It's not guaranteed to unnerve on hit. You'll get like 20, 25, 30% chance to unnerve on hit. For bossing, that would be fine, but I feel like with guaranteed unnerve on hit, I'm kind of hitting most of the screen. Because he is spamming Absolution on everything, which means everything will be unnerved, which is pretty nice. And of course, I want to show why I have double brittle, and it's because of this. It becomes very thick, my walk, and I can cover the ground with a lot of brittle very quickly, compared to if only I have brittle. It seems to help me. He seems to not walk right behind me, but you can see that he walks right next to me. So I'm getting like a thicker path of brittle. So it's pretty nice. Now let's talk about my gear. I have triple clusters with a 35% increased effect. This is some old school tech, but when I was POBing on vacation, this is what seemed to have the highest DPS without sacrificing too much tankiness. I have 2 with a +5 chaos resistance suffix. This one is identical. And I have 1 with attributes. I have 3 Grand Spectrums. They all have 2% reservation efficiency. That's not too important. I got a perfect melding. Don't really need it, but I had currency to burn. The corrupted blood can't be inflicted on you. I corrupted myself. I deleted 3 perfect meldings and 1 gave me this. It doesn't really help me that much because I have corruption immunity on my flask. But it is kind of nice, and I'm pretty sure it has high value for someone who uses melding and wants corrupted blood immunity on a jewel. I think it can be very expensive, but I'm not gonna count it as an expensive item in my total calculation of price. That combat focus doesn't cost anything. 1 medium cluster doesn't cost that much. I bought up a couple and corrupted them. I got lucky with a minion increased damage. 1 storm shroud, you don't really need it, but I like being completely immune to all elemental ailments. You don't really have to do it with the storm shroud and the flask suffix with the avoid being shocked, but I just like being completely immune to everything. But I know it's not necessary. It's just 1 jewel slot and 1 flask suffix. I think it's fine to do it. And 1 megalomaniac with enduring composure. Mage hunter. I had a different one before, but I got this one and it was a little bit better. I think I want to have a bit more spell block where I can, or attack block if I can find one. But these exact ones are hard to find. And the last one fixes my last 2% total resistance, so I'm 90% resistance capped. And for my gear, I have a mirrored wand. This gave me a little more DPS than the other mirrored wand that has minion crit multi instead of cast speed. This one was a little bit better in terms of DPS. Just a standard helmet. Standard shield. Was a bit expensive. I tried to figure out how to craft it myself by watching Gassie's videos and Craft of Exile, but it seemed pretty expensive to hit tier 1 on life, minion damage and minion crit. It seemed really rare to hit all the tier 1s plus the +1/+2 minion skill gems. I just bought one for 160 divines and I just divined it up. I wasted a lot of divines to get it near perfect. It's almost perfect rolls. 1% minion damage off being perfect. I'm not gonna waste more divines. Already wasted like 30 divines or 40 or some shit. But I had currency to burn. Crafted this, wasted a lot of currency, was very unlucky. Tried again to craft a triple positive. I saw a double positive and I just slammed the mist, sold that one. Tried a third times, burned maybe 10 locks and just gave up. It's not that important. But maybe I'll try again. The ring was a bit expensive, but it's very hard to find a good ring like this. I really want a higher roll on the attack speed and on the cast speed and the minion damage, but it's very hard to find. And I really need the energy shield actually, because without the energy shield, I have a hard time casting. If I take this off, I have 300 energy shield and my minions cost 154. And at the same time, my spirit offering is eating 102 mana every 8 seconds, so I kinda need the energy shield. It gives me almost 46 energy shield, gives me almost 200. And this reflect doubled, of course. This was 350 divines. The chest, very old school tech, but because we can use Dorianis on a mercenary, we can use this one. I was looking at Doppelganger and other chests. They give massive tankiness, but I just wanted some more DPS. 3 pierced is a lot. Mage Blood. Standard boots, just fixing resistances. Brittle. And standard gloves, fixing resistances. I needed dexterity somewhere, so I just got dexterity here. Cost me a lot to get the cold res up, and the other Eldritch implicits got pretty unlucky, but eventually I got it. It's double exquisite, which was pretty expensive. But completely unnecessary. I was just trying to min-max, and just the flasks are just generic. Armor. Avoid stun. Avoid shock for elemental immunity with Storm Shroud. And curse immunity. And this life flask was my Pathfinder Toxic Rain flask. I'm just using it for now. We'll see, maybe I'll change it to something else. cost was pretty high. Total is right now 3.73 meters. A lot of the stuff you just don't need. I have 630 awakened, GMP 623 awakened. Spell Echo, completely unnecessary, right? But if you have currency and you want to burn it on min-maxing your gear, like I'm still looking for min-maxes, right? But if someone has any tips, then let me know. But right now I'm just figuring out maybe I can get a bit better mercenary, but when it comes to gear, I feel like I have to give up DPS to get tankiness. I might try a Svalin shield version for a lot more effective hit pool, but we'll see. I'm kind of happy with it right now. It's not as expensive as my Ice Nova Hierophant in Settlers. I think that was about 5 mirrors. And this one is so much more DPS, but of course that's because of Doriani mercenary abuse. And I can cut the mercenary down to like 20 divines and barely lose any DPS. Same with I will lose a bit of DPS without malediction actually, but this isn't that expensive. 140 for Animate Guardian that doesn't lose gear. I'm sorry, he doesn't never die. He does die sometimes, but he will never lose the gear, right? And my gear was not super expensive. It's mainly the amulet, the ring, mage blood, which everyone has. Wand was very lucky. I think I got a snipe. Someone was selling their mirrored wand. I got it for 350 divines when mirror was going for 700 divines. I think someone was just getting rid of their mirror or their mirrored wand really quickly. And the clusters, I don't know if you can get them cheaper. You can get the melding. This was the cost for me to constantly corrupt. I corrupted 4 in total. 3 was deleted. I think this is worth at least 100 divines. Anywhere between 100 divines and 1 mirror. It really depends on how many are using it and how many could use the corrupted blood immunity. But I don't really know how many are using this anymore. This is kind of old school tech, but it's still pretty good, right? So yeah, I think I'm just gonna stop it there. I'm gonna upload this video and maybe make another one where I talk more in depth about the gear and the choices I've made. I have compared my version to let's see, the current version that everyone is using seems to be the Divine Flesh version, something like this guy. But you don't get you lose some auras. I kind of want to have haste and determination. You can't have them on mercenary because you need a mercenary with Silletry and Wrath because those are level 26 auras on your 83 mercenary. That's pretty powerful. And you do lose 1 jewel slot for Sublime and 1 jewel slot for Glorious Vanity, and I don't really want to lose it. And the Watcher's Eye is also not as good. I lose a bit of power from my Watcher's Eye. My Watcher's Eye is very, very nice, for me at least. Got physical damage reduction, block, and the permanent phasing, because I'm using haste, is pretty satisfying. So my version has a lot more DPS than the other common versions, but I know it has a lot less effective hit pool. I think it has a bit higher max hit, but less effective hit pool. But I do think it's okay because you are ranged. That's 1 layer of defense. You have minions to body block for you. That's another layer. And it's softcore. You can just use another portal if you die. As long as I'm not dying every fucking map, it's okay. I can die sometimes. Also, I'm faking it a little bit. I should turn off my Molten Shell. I have Convocation and Molten Shell on automation. I can't be bothered to click it, but it's really nice. I don't have to worry about my Animate Guardian. It's always convocated, like every 2 seconds. I turn off my Molten Shell, I lose a lot of effective hit pool. As you can see, the uptime is pretty high. The uptime right now was about 60 to 63%. So it's not completely fair to just permanently leave it off, but leaving it on is also not quite correct, right? So I'm just gonna it's okay, but it could be a lot better, obviously. Okay, I'll leave it there. I'll upload the video. If there is any interest in the video, I think I will do a small video where I'm talking about the gear choices and how the build feels. It's pretty nice. It feels pretty good. It's a lot of DPS, relatively tanky, not super tanky. It's not top tier. It's not some 2 billion DPS, 1 million max hit Connor Converser build, but it's pretty good for I would say this is relatively off meta, this build right now. It's not like a Smite or Forbidden Right. Alright, goodbye.
I need more mana.
Let his power be known!
When I'm ready and not before.
Might of his hand! Time to burn!
When I'm ready and not before.
Might of his hand!
Yeah. need more mana.